This video, we're going to talk about fundraising publicly, why you should do it, why you shouldn't, pros and cons, etc. So what is fundraising publicly? Essentially, this means if you have a really early stage startup, it means you put on LinkedIn or on Twitter or in a newsletter that you are fundraising or you're looking for investors for your company. That's essentially all it is. It's saying, hey guys, if you're looking to invest in insert my company name here, let me know. I'd love to chat. Something like that. The pros of fundraising in public or doing this publicly is that if you don't have a huge investor network, how are people going to know that you're fundraising? How are people know that you're on the market? By talking about this publicly, people will then say, oh, Matt is actually fundraising. Let me take a look into Matt and see if there's something interesting here for me to dive into, maybe enough for me to request a meeting. If no one knows you're fundraising, no one will know to give you money, and then you will be stuck without anyone giving you money, and that's not fun in this world where we rely on venture capital to build out our visions. With that said, with all of the pros, there are cons to the strategy. The biggest con is that it's technically illegal. The SEC does not allow, anyone to publicly solicit for investment, unless you're under something like Reg D or, any of these, regulation crowdfunding, Reg CF kind of type things. And that means if you're raising on Republic, on WeFunder, you're cool, but if you're not raising on those, then you legally can't solicit. With that said, I have a strong belief that the SEC's job is not to hurt the little guy with 500 followers on Twitter that's, just earnestly trying to get their first investor. I think they're more going for the FTXs of the world, the big frauds of the world, and the people doing truly bad things who know that they're doing that. So that's the first bad thing about raising in public, essentially, is that technically it's illegal, although, I haven't seen anyone get dinged for it yet. But secondly, it does hurt your signal a little bit. If someone sees that you're fundraising publicly, they're going to assume that you don't have the network or the ability to fundraise privately. Now, this might be true, which is why fundraising publicly is a good idea for some. But if you have the ability to raise capital without putting it out into the world, it's probably better for you, because then you do it the traditional way. There's no signaling risk. People don't think, oh, Matt isn't able to raise money, so he's begging the public. It's not that, right? With that said, the last thing I'll share in this video is I actually put out a tweet 2.5 years ago, maybe a little less than 2.5 years ago, saying, hey, I could use $15,000 for my company. I really want to incorporate it and get it off the ground. Would anyone be interested? I put it out onto Twitter. I obviously did not think anything was going to come from it. And my prayers were answered. Just an hour later, I actually got an email from someone very notable in the industry who said, I'm in, and invested within the week. Is this the normal way that fundraising in public works? Absolutely not. Absolutely not, but it can work. And more importantly than that Hail Mary that I just talked about, fundraising in public can just get people exposure to the fact that you are not trying to build a small company. You are seeking capital, and it's a good way to get people to pay attention to you. So to summarize, fundraising in public means you are technically talking about your startup's fundraise publicly. Pros of this is that it gives your company and yourself exposure, helps people know that you are seeking capital to kind of put that jog in their memory. The cons are that technically it's illegal, although I don't think the SEC actually cares that much. Secondly, it is signaling risk, where someone sees that you're doing this, they may think, oh, they have a bad network because they have to do that publicly. But I am proof that it can work. It can work once in a while, and on the long term, it works often because it allows you to build relationships in public. With that said, I appreciate you watching this video about fundraising in public. If you enjoyed, give me a like, give me a subscribe, give me a comment, tell me what you liked about this video, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.